What's up? Here it is. MothMan coming to you live. We barely squeezed it in. We told you February 15th. It's still February 15th, so we're still winning. Honestly, we also kind of wanted to try it like this, see if we get a little bit of interaction, maybe while we're going through this. So if at any point in time, we got a few viewers that have a question or have some insight they want to add to it, just holler at Trish. She'll let me know, and we'll see how that goes. See if we get anything like that. Before we get into MothMan, number one, we got Savannah with us here again today. She wanted to hang out with us during the recording of MothMan. So she's going to be here, chilling with us, getting an up-close view of MothMan and everything that we got coming today as well. Before we even get into that, a couple announcements. I know announcements are boring. We always got to start off with them. Got a couple things going on, though. Number one, email, hauntedhoneymooners@gmail.com. Has not changed. YouTube, Haunted Honeymooners. Facebook, what's Facebook?
Haunted Honeymooners.
There you go. Have some confidence in your answers. It was right. Goodness. All right, Facebook, Haunted Honeymooners as well. As of this moment, we have 1,477 likes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Getting closer and closer. I guess that old blackout ticker, I don't know, man. They responded. We'll see. We'll see what happens with them, what they got going on, what they got cooking. As of right now, go figure, not a lot of information from Blackout about Blackout. But that is the goal. We're getting there a lot sooner than I ever anticipated. A lot quicker than I ever thought was going to happen. And thank you all for that. Thank you so much for the support you've shown, especially through the Talking Scared program. You know, I'm sure the actors really appreciate it. Having the opportunity to get their name out there and the love that you have shown for that particular show and what we have going there, very appreciative. We have a special bonus episode of Talking Scared coming up. I'm not completely sure on all the details of that quite yet, but we'll get them out to you very soon. We're still confirming with the gentleman that's going to be doing that episode with us as well. February 25th will be correct? February 25th, that's our next episode of Talking Scared, right? So February 25th is our next episode of Talking Scared as well. The bonus episode is just going to happen. We'll let you know when that one's going to happen. And obviously, February 22nd, we have a Killer Friday. March 1st, Black Eyed Children. I can't wait to get into Black Eyed Children. We've already talked about who we're going to be doing for a Killer Friday. Triple H himself, H.H. Holmes, coming at you on a Killer Friday. Trish is excited about that one. You don't know nothing about H.H. Holmes, do you?
No.
You're going to find out about... She was finding out about some shadow people on the way up today. It kind of freaked her out a little bit. She was a little... She doesn't want to admit it. She was a little nervous on the car ride up.
Though.
Yeah, maybe one day. I don't think if you saw one, you would want to see one as much in that moment. Remember the whole sleep aspect of that you were saying was going to kind of creep you out? Yeah,
it creeped me out, but it doesn't mean I don't really want to know if they're actually real. I want to see one. I want to see the hack off. I want him to come back.
Anyways, psychopath, right? Already, man. She's got to get away from us. We are no good for children, apparently. But anyways, that's what we got coming down the pipeline. That's what we got coming in the future. Shock Theater review will be coming out. We got a lot of stuff coming out here over the next few weeks. Shock Theater review, as well as the additional Shock Theater interview that happened on site. Thank you guys so much again for that, Shock Theater. You are amazing people. Will, David, everyone involved, thank you guys so much. We got a video today. No, we will not be posting that video.
Yeah, we will.
No, we will not. No.
Yeah, we will.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Nope. I'll delete it myself today. I don't care. Nope. Shut that down. If we are, we're going to edit the shit out of that for sure. There's some stuff. You ain't putting that out there. You ain't putting that out there, okay? You can go knock it off.
It was a part of the experience.
Yeah, it was, and we can cut it out. Okay, we're going to edit it for sure. And they probably, I don't think we're allowed. I think it's secret, right? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll lose my job over this shit. Anyways, for real.
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, you're not the one that has to go to the GM conference and... no, ain't no way. Anyways, we're going to move forward past that. Like I said, real quick recap of everything that we just went over. A little bit of confusion there, I'm sure. February 15th, today, MothMan. Getting ready to hit it in just a second. February 22nd, Killer Friday, Triple H, H.H. Holmes. March 1st, Black Eyed Children. Special bonus episode of Talking Scared with a special guest. Coming when we tell you it's coming, so just pay attention. It's coming. There was one last thing. Oh yeah, that Shock Theater shit we were just talking about, how we're never going to release that video, but we are going to do a full review, as well as the interview that we had with them. I'm serious, I will leave you. Stop it.
He won't.
Alright, anyways, so, in each and every episode of An Education in Horror, as we get into MothMan, we have started a little trend of a murder in time. And the first few murders in time that we have done, and I want to do this beforehand because this serial killer is particularly close to my heart. He is one of my favorites. If you could have a favorite serial killer, I know that makes me weird, I know that makes me a psycho, blah, 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 I don't care. I wanted to start off with this one because this dude is so insanely crazy. It's just mind-boggling, the acts that he committed and everything else. But Andrei Chikatilo, a Russian serial killer, kind of put in vague as far as where he was from and everything like that. He had a, we got Savannah here, so I gotta censor myself a little bit as to why he was a serial killer. He had some issues downstairs. Escalator didn't quite work properly. So he had a faulty escalator, and he was very, very upset about it. Sent him on a killing rampage. He was known for, on a couple of different particular incidences, he would actually bite the nipple off of his victim, spit the nipple out, and then do this weird psychotic victory dance afterwards. And then also he was also very well known for, just during his trial, I don't want to get into all of his acts. We're here for MothMan. But we always do this killer in time thing, and it's hard for me to get into the full details of Chikatilo, because I've got a little girl sitting beside me right now. So I didn't anticipate that when I thought about doing Chikatilo for Murder in Time. So I'm going to release, we're going to do another video with a little more detail as to who Chikatilo was, give him a little bit of a better idea for Murder in Time. But as far as his actual court case, so the dude has murdered, getting close to I think around the 60 to 70 mark, as far as how many people he actually ended up killing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So he's killed 60 to 70 people, every single one of them in brutal fashion. Every single one of them. Really, dude just wanted to wrestle, and it's he figured out how to make his escalator kind of work with that and everything else. This is weird. We shouldn't have done him. Not yet. This wasn't anticipated. Live, right? Here you go. So anyways, he killed around 70 people. And so he goes to court. They actually put him in a cage for his trial. The dummy decides he's going to represent himself. That's never a good idea, man. Anytime someone chooses to represent themselves, they usually end up with a bullet in the back of the head or electrocuted or, never a good ending for him. So he decides to represent himself, actually showcases his escalator in the middle of the courtroom, uses it as his defense as to why he committed the crimes that he did. Is obviously sentenced to death. He is executed on February 15th with one single bullet to the back of the head. And that is the end of Andrei Chikatilo. And we will release an unedited little clip about Andrei Chikatilo here within a day or so, man. We'll get that out to you real quick. We just didn't think ahead. I cannot do him the way that he deserves to be done right now.
I'm here.
Yes, thank you. He did some bad things, right?
He wins an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won something. So anyways, we are here for what?
We're here for Mothman.
MothMan. What do you know about MothMan?
I know there's a bridge called Mothman Bridge.
There is a bridge in his honor?
And he's like a person that's a moth. He's Mothman.
Kind of a little hybrid creature. So in 2002, Richard Gere stars in a horror movie about a West Virginia town that experienced a strange number of supernatural sightings leading up to the collapsing of a local bridge. This movie was called
Mothman.
MothMan. Oh, you're failing me right now. The MothMan Prophecies. It's about your own state.
I've never heard of that.
The Mothman Prophecies?
No?
Alright, looks like somebody's going to be watching
Somebody's going to be watching Mothman.
Heard. Alright. So the film was based on a disturbing, real, otherworldly occurrence that took place in Point Pleasant, West Virginia from 1966 to 1967. Still to this day, the numerous strange events and sightings of giant moth-like creatures go unexplained. Here's the actual story we're going to go over here very shortly that influenced the film and the bridge. A lot of different things that happened with this. So when we first decided to do Mothman, we had to do it, you know. We're from West Virginia. It's right in our backyard. We have plans. We haven't committed yet, but we have plans of hopefully going up to the Mothman Festival. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Having a table and everything set up there and spending some time up there. It actually seems like a very, very cool festival. We had intentions of getting up to Point Pleasant, regretfully.
The kid said no.
Yeah, just didn't happen. We're still going to try and get up there and post a little bit from the Mothman Museum. There is a Mothman Museum. There is a, we're getting to all that here shortly. Just a lot going on. And when we first did this, to be honest with you, the idea of a moth-like creature that was also a man, the whole thing just sounded dumb to me. I didn't want to do it at all. Kind of forced myself into doing the research on him and finding out a little bit about Mothman. Turns out he's pretty cool. A lot of good things with him. And this is one of those rare, I think, education in horrors. As we start to do more of these, I think a lot of the subjects that we're going to hit are going to be more on the terrifying, attacking side of things. You know, we saw that with Lilith. We saw that with shadow people. You know, neither one of those entities are really there for our benefit. I think by the end of this one, you almost cheer for Mothman a little bit, because it seems like he's genuinely trying to help. Which I found very interesting. Not a lot of these types of, he has a weird way of going about it. But a lot of these different things, it's usually against us, against the humans and against, you know, that type of thing. You're trying to terrorize, trying to strike fear. Not so much trying to warn, which is what you're going to see a lot more. So we're going to get into the story, the original story, the most famous story of Mothman. So December 15th, 1967. The Silver Bridge, a suspension bridge connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Gallipolis, Ohio, collapses, killing 46 people. Spanning the Ohio River, this I-bar chain bridge, built in 1928, met its fate during rush hour. Of course it did, as people were returning home from work and families were going into town to begin their Christmas shopping. What caused this well-traveled bridge to collapse wasn't a mystery. It's a defect in one of the I-bar links, caused a crack to form, which led to the catastrophe. The real mystery was the appearance of a strange visitor, sighted several times by the citizens of Point Pleasant during the months leading up to the tragedy. The strange visitor was known as
Mothman?
Mothman. Man, get some confidence in your voice. Mothman!
Mothman.
There we go. So the Mothman made it into the news on November 16th, 1966, when the Point Pleasant Register reported couple sees man-sized bird, creature, or something. Point Pleasant residents Steve and Mary Malati, along with Roger and Linda Scarberry, were driving near McClanty Wildlife Reserve on West Virginia Route 62. And if what happened here is true, this is one of the scariest fucking stories I have ever read in my entire life. If you put yourself into the position that these four people were in, oh my God, how they didn't wreck their car or drive it over a ravine or something along those lines, excuse me, is insane. Because this would genuinely be, I think, one of the most terrifying things that you could have happen to you. All right, so they're near the McClanty Wildlife Reserve on West Virginia Route 62. I've been there myself. Crested a hill, come face to face with a creature they claim was 7 foot tall, large red eyes, and a 10-foot wingspan. That is a big, big moth. That is a big damn moth. So swerving around the creature, they attempted to drive away. And that's usually when you hear these stories of like Bigfoot or something like that. You see it for a second, and you try and divert it, and you never see it again. Not with Mothman. He was nowhere even close to being done. Seconds later, they found the Mothman was back in front of their car. Holy shit, no. You've already saw it once, you vert around it, and it just jumps back in front of you. No, it's trying to send a message, right? So more frightened than ever, I can only imagine. The two married couples headed back for town, traveling at almost 100 miles per hour. Man, I got an Impala SS. We'd have been booking at about $1.60 at that point, getting away from Mothman. All the while, the creature cruised around along the ground right behind them. Can you imagine that? Just so you just come over this crest, all right? 4 people in the car. Everybody sees the same thing. Giant moth creature standing right in the middle of the road. Okay, let's go around that. Cool. And we'll just keep on rolling. And there it is again. All right, so now we're going to floor it. We're just going to run from this thing. You're booking it in a car going, as they said, 100 miles an hour, and the thing is right behind you. Jesus Christ, man, that's insane. Like I said, man, if that story is real and those people really experienced that, oh my God, man, the terror that must have just came over them for something like that, man. That is something else. So all the while, the creature's cruising along the ground right behind them, and in some instance, swiftly soaring 50 feet above their car, just like almost as if it's just messing with them. You know, like this is just nothing to it. It can do this all night long, whatever, no problem. So the car turns down a farm road. Bad idea, I think, man. I'd have been heading straight for the middle of town. Wouldn't have stopped till I got there. I'd have parked right beside the police station. At least they got guns in there. So as the car turns on a farm road, the creature once again managed to block their path. This time it laid in the road like a lump resembling a dead dog, as though it were waiting for someone to step out of the car and investigate. Nope, no thank you. I don't know, I say that, I'd probably get out of the car because I'm retarded.
We did just climb through an
That's
abandoned
what people do in horror
asylum.
movies. That's why they get killed. Because they get out of the car and they don't stay inside.
Sometimes they get killed in the car. You haven't seen enough horror movies to be able to qualify yet. You're not there yet.
A lot of people get killed that way.
Yeah, some. So anyways, as if it was wanting someone to come out of the car and investigate. So not wanting to fall for what they thought may have been a trap. See, they're on your side. They didn't want to get out of the car. They backed up, made their way back to town. Later that night, they returned to the farm road, this time with Deputy Sheriff. Obviously, the lump in the road's gone, but they did find a strange pile of dust in its place. Whatever on the dust. You're making up stories at that point, man. You found some dust on a dirt road. That's, no.
Not that really
Yeah,
good. It's not important.
You know, and that's always the sad part about these, is you hear these awesome stories, and then when there's that one person that can come by to verify it and give that undeniable proof, it's
Never
gone.
comes back.
You know, that is frustrating. But yet this wasn't the first time someone had actually seen this strange being. That does seem to be the most aggressive story of Mothman, and him really trying to say something, I guess. November 12th, 1966, grave diggers working in Clendenin, West Virginia, claimed to have seen the half-man, half-moth creature flying through the trees just above their heads. In the coming months, reports of Mothman sightings flooded local papers. Many citizens reported hearing noises outside. When they went out to investigate, they found the creature's red eyes glowing in their flashlights. Some residents even blamed the creature for their missing pets. One farmer told the Point Pleasant Register that his German Shepherd went missing after some giant beast with red eyes was seen on his property. And how massive would that creature have to be? So you assume that's true, okay? So we assume that Mothman is responsible for this dude's German Shepherd. German Shepherds can be aggressive dogs. They're big dogs. They're powerful dogs. And to think that creature just swooped in and took off with it, and that was the end of it, that's some power, and that's a sizable creature to be able to do that. Just lift off with a German Shepherd like that. Again, assuming that all that's true. We like to assume because it just kind of makes things flow a little better than having to put that skeptic disclaimer on every single thing that we say.
There.
Yeah, we weren't there. And also, do you think that maybe it sounds a little implausible that a Mothman creature killed a German Shepherd in Point Pleasant?
I don't really think it's impossible, but I don't think it's possible at the same exact time. It's a 50-50 thing.
50-50 thing. There you go, from Savannah herself. 50-50. I think maybe 50-50. So wildlife experts believe a sandhill crane to be the most likely culprit. I looked up a sandhill crane. I don't think so. It doesn't look anything. Go look up a sandhill crane, and you tell me if it looks like a Mothman. I don't believe so. However, it doesn't explain how the bird acquired a taste for dog meat, or why the sightings of the mysterious Mothman stopped right after the bridge collapse. So this led many people to believe that the Mothman may have been there to warn the citizens of Point Pleasant. John Keel, who wrote the book The Mothman Prophecies in 1975, claims residents were experiencing premonitions that the Silver Bridge was going to collapse. Some cryptozoologist theorists even claim that the Mothman has been sighted before many more large-scale tragedies around the globe, even 9/11. So that's the story of Mothman in Point Pleasant. And I'm from West Virginia. I always grew up with what little bit that I heard about Mothman. Point Pleasant was the only one. No other sightings. Didn't hear any other stories. The further that I dug into this, turns out Mothman's been all over the globe. Several stories of Mothman and his different sightings and everything like that. And we're going to jump into those stories right away. So the first story. Mothman saves the lives of some miners in Germany. On September 10th, 1978, a group of miners in Germany came face to face with a seemingly headless creature with glowing red eyes on its chest blocking the mine's entrance. There's your sign. Probably not a good day for mining if there's a headless creature. But I also don't understand. They describe it as a headless creature, but then they says it has glowing red eyes on its chest. I don't know. They're in Germany. I think they were drunk. But the chest thing, whatever. And at first they thought it was a man in a trench coat, but then they quickly realized it was not a coat. But unfurled large black wings. I'm not going in the mine, man. I'm done. That's it. The men remained in the mine entrance, stunned and staring at the creature. Nope. I've seen some scary stuff in my life. I consider myself to have a pretty high tolerance for most things like this. If I'm walking into a cave and I can clearly see a headless creature that somehow has red eyes in its chest, with its wings furled around it, so you would think that would be over the eyes on the chest, but Germans. Anyways, either way, man, they did a terrible job with their Mothman description in hindsight. I'm not going to work that day. I'm not staying at the entrance. I'm not staring at it. I'm out. I'm gonna go ahead and turn around, call it a day, probably call it a job. Telling you right now, if I ever show up to work and that's standing in front of the door to my restaurant, I'm just gonna call Diane and be like, I gotta give it. No. What if he just wanted something to eat? He eats
maybe
dogs,
you.
Apparently, yeah. I'll let you serve him. I'm not serving Mothman. Anyways, so they see the creature there. The men remain in the mine entrance, stunned, staring at the creature until it let out a blood-curdling screech that sent the miners scrambling out. About an hour later, the men felt a seismic rumble and witnessed a plume of dust shoot from the mine as it collapsed. If the men had gone to their stations in the mine as usual, excuse me, the majority of them would have died. So it appears that Mothman saved some lives there. He did it by scaring them. But again, it's the same aspect with the Point Pleasant thing. Seems to be trying to warn. Seems to be trying to stop the death toll from being as high as it can be.
So he kind of comes and scares them off, and then something bad happens after he scares them off?
Yeah, but he saved their lives by keeping them out of the mine.
So he's a good and bad person.
Yeah, I think just good. Honestly, I mean, he has an interesting way of going about it. But, I mean, he's out there doing good. So we have another incident at the Fukushima plant. The Mothman tried to warn people of this disaster as well. Marcus Pulse, an American visiting Japan, was out with a friend near the Fukushima plant when suddenly they heard a loud whooshing sound and a terrible screeching. As they looked back towards the plant, they saw a figure that Pulse described as large and black from the distance. From the distance I was at, it looked to be sitting on top of one of the square-shaped buildings. It sat there for about 5 seconds, then it unfurled a large set of what I can only describe as large black wings. The creature took flight, circling the plant a few more times before coming closer to them. That's when I noticed the 2 large red eyes. Again, the red eyes, whether they're in the chest or the head, Germans. No offense to if we have any German fans. I love you people. I've got a lot of German in me too.
Me too.
But, you know, out of everybody, our description of Mothman has been weird, and it didn't make any sense. Okay, everybody else seems to be getting it so far. Point Pleasant's got it. People at Fukushima got it. And we're still drunk showing up to work.
Red eyes on your chest. Oh, but the wings should be around the chest. How do you see the red eyes with the wings?
Exactly. So that's when they noticed 2 large red eyes. Seemed to glow from within.
Maybe you can see through the wings.
Perhaps. Seemed to glow from within and with a blood red hue. They were unblinking in the 3 to 4 seconds we saw them. We knew they were looking straight at us. We knew this creature knew we could see it, and it made no attempt to disguise itself. At no point has Mothman really seemed to kind of stray away from the camera. Wants to be seen. Wants people to probably recognize if you're seeing this thing, it might be time to get out of town. Pulse describes an immense feeling of dread that washed over him until the creature vanished as quickly as it appeared. It wasn't until Pulse was back home in America, hearing the news on CNN, after the devastation of the Japanese earthquake and the explosions at the very same nuclear plant where he had witnessed the creature, that he realized may have been the infamous harbinger of disaster known as the Mothman. So that is now 3 incidents of Mothman just trying to be like, hey guys, something bad's going to happen here. Here we go, back to America now. The Mothman was hanging around the Twin Towers the week of the 9/11 attacks. And the thing about this is it's all similar stories as to how he does it, what he does, what he looks like, other than the Germans, you know, and everything else like that. So it's just, it's the same thing with shadow people. It's so hard to just disqualify it all as myth and fantasy and hubbub and imagination and lunatics and everything else. Man, this dude was at a nuclear power plant for a sustained time for a reason. It's probably because he's super duper smart. It probably has a super duper important job. They don't just let anybody up into those things. So it's educated people that are seeing this thing as well. Not just drunk minors. Not just, you know, West Virginia's got a reputation. But it's not just some crazy West Virginia horror story either. This is a worldwide thing, man. People have seen this thing literally across the globe. So again, back to 9/11. So during the days leading up to the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001, several people reported sightings of a black-winged creature flying near the Twin Towers. During the attack, as the second plane hit, eyewitnesses reported a creature flying parallel to the plane. I actually was in a position that I saw on TV, obviously, the second plane make impact, and I don't recall seeing anything like that. And there were so many people that saw that. You really feel like that particular part of seeing it flying parallel with the plane would have probably been bigger news and everything else. But you know, I definitely could believe that it was probably around the Twin Towers. It's hard for me to believe that it was flying parallel with the second plane as it impacted the building. It doesn't seem like its particular persona or its particular thing that it would, number one, want to do. It seems to get out of there a little ways before the disaster actually strikes. And it just doesn't seem Mothmanish from what I've seen so far. It seems a little too interactive in the event that's taking place. But then as the days followed, there was those reporting the creature were allegedly approached by the men in black and warned to stop talking about what they saw. I'm telling you right now, if the men in black are real, and they ever approach us and tell us to shut it down, they can go put a bullet in my head. Because I will expose them as hard as I possibly can and take the shot right on camera.
I've always wanted to know if they existed.
Well, we might find out one day, as much as we keep plugging around in things. So there we go. It's connected to 9/11 now. Also, the Mothman is connected to the Chernobyl disaster. Real quick note on Chernobyl, there is a Chernobyl survival horror game that is in development right now that looks amazing. I cannot wait to play it.
What is Chernobyl?
Chernobyl? We'll get into Chernobyl one day. We'll talk about that a little more. Big nuclear disaster. Nuclear power plant went haywire. Bad, bad, bad. And real quick, a couple other things we're kind of looking at doing before we get into Chernobyl. Kind of looking at maybe talking about some of the horror survival video games a little bit. And everything else. Resident Evil 2. They just did a remake on it. I'm looking at getting that game here very shortly. And do a little review on it. Just a real quick tidbit about it. You know, whether or not it's worth the money to go get it and stuff like that. You know, we got Doom Eternal. It's coming out for our gamers out there. Might be talking about that a little bit. Days Gone. Another survival horror game that's coming out. Interesting take on zombies. We're going to talk about some of these games and play these games a little bit more. Try and get a little more interactive with some of the horror movies that are coming out. Trish has done a real good job about promoting several of the new ones that are coming out. Try and give you guys as much glimpse into the horror genre as we possibly can.
Resident Evil 2 is pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, see? She's trying to steal my thing. She's been doing it since the schoolhouse, man. I gotta quit letting her involved in this. But anyways, back to Chernobyl. Back to the Mothman. Get off my stuff.
Nope.
Alright, so the Mothman is believed to have been around for the worst nuclear accident in history. Throughout 1985, many scientists and other workers at the nuclear plant in Chernobyl, Ukraine, claimed to see a huge black bird-like creature with the body of a man flying around the plant. Those who saw the red-eyed beast also reported a series of strange, harassing phone calls and a string of nightmares leading up to the disastrous explosion in April 1986. On April 26, 1986, the day of the accident, several people saw the huge black bird actually flying around the smoke after the explosion. Even those in the nearby town of Pripyat, you see, I thought I had one where I didn't have to say nothing stupid. And then Ukraine comes in and says, haha, here's a stupid city name for you to say. And I don't know why that was the accent for Ukraine. I don't feel like that was probably Ukrainian. And that's probably not even the right way of saying that. But whatever, man. These names, man. Anyways.
You tried.
Shut up. You were not helpful. You know that? Claimed to have seen the strange creature that became known as the Black Bird of Chernobyl in the days leading up to the disaster. Another sighting right beforehand, right before these disasters happened. Here is another sighting. We're back in America now. Mothman appeared at the site of the Interstate 35 West bridge collapse. The Mothman was spotted at yet another bridge collapse. He is very concerned about bridge collapses, apparently. This is the second one. Nuclear power plants and bridges. He's super worried about them. And that one group of drunk German miners. Appears to be the ones that we found so far. So the Mothman, I'm not trying to make funny of it. I'm really not. It's just sometimes when you read that, you see little connections at times that you didn't even necessarily see when you're researching it, and you're like, wait, another bridge, another goddamn nuclear power plant, and where did the drunk Germans come from? It just, anyways, Interstate 35 West, bridge collapse, Mothman, spotted at yet another bridge collapse. So this bridge was open for traffic in 1967, the same year that the Silver Bridge collapsed. Ooh. So then on August 1st, 2007, after a month of Mothman sightings, a month of them, man, if you see a Mothman for a month, if Mothman is on any of your bridges, stay off that bridge. Okay? If he's at any of your nuclear power plants, stay out of that power plant. So August 1st, 2007, after a month of Mothman sightings, Interstate 35 West Bridge collapses during rush hour, sadly taking the lives of 13 people with it and injuring 145 more. Reports of Mothman began trickling in on June 27th, 2007, preceding the collapse by a mere month. That is interesting, you know, documented reports of people calling in saying, hey, there's something flying around the bridge, and then that bridge collapses a little ways afterwards. That one really kind of feels like the most intense, realistic story that I think that we've read so far and that we've heard so far. Just because people are calling, and these are documented sightings of something, and then a month later the bridge collapses. You know, same story you saw in Point Pleasant. So many claim to see the humanoid creature flapping its massive wings in the surrounding area and at the bridge itself. An Illinois woman witnessed the creepy thing while driving just outside of Stewartsville, Minnesota on June 27, 2007. Called paranormal radio show host George Norrie on Coast to Coast AM. I've heard that show before. And described the creature as having a huge wing about the width of a Ford. Now, when I say about the width of a Ford, there is a lot of fucking Fords, guys. There's a lot of them. They come all the way in the littlest Fiesta, all the way up to the Excursion. So, the width of a Ford, that's some terrible description right there. She'd be the same person to be like, I saw the murderer. He was about 5'2" to like 6'9", and weighed somewhere between 150 to like 350, 400 pounds. And he was a male. That's it. Go get him. Man, width of a Ford. Anyways, moving on. Eyewitness in Wisconsin says the Mothman attacked his car. I do not like this one before we even get into it. It's the only story of the Mothman attacking anybody, and I believe that in and of itself makes it a load of bullshit. But it's out there, and we're going to go over it. So in September of 2006, in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Awahalihealy, a Cherokee man, that's what it is. I looked that one up. That's how it's pronounced. Leave me alone. A Cherokee man and his son were driving home in an isolated stretch of road at night when the Mothman attacked them. In an interview on Monster Quest, he shared his encounter, told how the creature flew alongside, okay, we've heard that before, and then directly in front of the windshield, close enough to touch. I'm with you so far, we've heard this before. They got a really good look at it, most people seem to, even the drunk Germans, describing it as a bat-like and fleshy with sparse hair and red eyes the size of road reflectors. Okay, I'm with you so far. We're cool. He described the monster's high-pitched screech, okay, that gave him vertigo and made them sick to their stomachs. Alright, I'm starting to veer off course a little bit. The man's son pulled over and threw up on the side of the road. After returning to the location a few days later, in the daytime, all they found was a deer carcass that they later blamed on a poacher. And no disaster happens in this area afterwards either. This one kind of strikes me as some people seeking attention. I don't really follow this one. I don't like I said, I don't like that one. So we're just moving away from that one. Mothman sightings are correlated with the swine flu outbreak in Mexico. Some believe the large, hairy, red-eyed creature. The people of La Junta, Mexico, began to see stalking the area in 2009 was the legendary Mothman. The sightings occurred around the time leading up to the 2009 swine flu outbreak in Mexico. 2 witnesses experienced pure terror as they heard the creature's screeches emitting from an apple orchard near a local cemetery. A student who requested to remain anonymous reported the Mothman chasing him for 15 minutes on the night of March 6, 2009. Despite the best efforts of local authorities to hunt down the entity, no traces of it were ever found. It's the first time of it kind of warning of a disease. Maybe. Again, maybe. And then there's also a report of a deadly dam disaster in southeastern China. They were plagued with the sightings of the figure that resembled the Mothman in early January 1926. Dubbed by the locals as the Man Dragon, the shadowy figure was seen hovering over the dam. The disaster hit the surrounding farming villages in the form of 40 billion gallons of water. The dam collapsed, resulting in the deaths of 15,000 people. Mothman is also said to have something to do with another entity known as the Grinning Man. I dug into this Grinning Man a bit, and wow, there is absolutely zero connection between the Grinning Man and the Mothman that I found. He just made the list because the Grinning Man is a badass motherfucker. All right, cover your ears when I say that word. You can hear that word, okay?
Okay.
It's grown-up talk sometimes. All right.
All right.
But the Grinning Man is something else. He's going to be on the list. We're going to do a whole episode on him. Who puts up with no one's shit. Period. Absolutely period. So that's going to wrap it up as far as the stories on Mothman. A couple things about Mothman in the present. There is a Mothman museum and a festival. We are going to be trying very hard to be up there for the Mothman Festival. We'd love for y'all to come join us. Come meet us, man. Come out there. Come see us at the Mothman Festival. I don't see any reason why we won't be there, but it's a little ways off in the future, and we haven't confirmed anything yet. So, you know, plans change sometimes. Sometimes we go from Haunted Farm to Shock Theater. We don't know how things are always going to play out. We try to plan this stuff out as best we can. Sometimes it gets a little askew. But Mothman Festival is an annual event held every third weekend in September that commemorates the 1966 Point Pleasant, West Virginia Mothman sighting, which gave birth to the infamous red-eyed winged legend. People from all over the world gather around their charming Main Street to celebrate their favorite Mothman during this one-of-a-kind event. There is a Mothman app. I haven't looked into the Mothman app or anything like that, but it's just cool as shit that the Mothman has an app. There's guest speakers from all over the world at the Mothman Festival as well. They have a cosplay event, including a fucking Mothman costume, with men in black hunting him all day. That's so cool. It has been described as cosplay meets street fair and sounds like an absolute blast. Again, Trish and I are planning on going, and we'd really like to see you all join us out there. Mothman Museum is open 7 days a week. It's in Point Pleasant. Has a ton of Mothman stuff, as you would expect. So that's going to about wrap it up for Mothman. Not maybe as long as Shadow People, but this guy's just a single dude trying to warn some people about some messed up things that may be happening to him here in the near future. Again, like I said before, to be honest, when we put Mothman on the list, I wasn't really feeling the winged half man, half moth. Got to know him a little bit. He seems like an alright dude. Seems like somebody that's just trying to warn some people about some bad things that may happen in their area. And for that, Mothman, from the Haunted Honeymooners, you receive our seal of approval. We like you. You have been accepted into the club. You are the first member of an educational horror to get the green light. We like you, Mothman. You're an alright fella. Hope I don't see you around any of my bridges or any of my plants. I don't care if it's whatever plant. Stay away from the plants. Okay? Nothing good that comes there. If you see some drunk Germans around here, that's fine too. Alright? That's going to do it here for Haunted Honeymooners. Couple little things here. We got some wristbands that we will be having for sale here very, very shortly. We'll get those posted up, some better photos of them, prices, and everything like that, so you all can show your support and everything else. Website is still working. We're still going to have that up and going here very, very shortly. Thank you, Savannah, so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Being with us from Mothman.
You're welcome.
What'd you think of him?
He was pretty cool.
Pretty cool guy. And Jessica, thank you so much for liking the shirt as well. Very, very appreciated there. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Those of you that were able to tune in live with us, we appreciate it. Again, like, share, comment, feedback, hauntedhoneymooners@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for bearing with us, traveling down Mothman with us. We will see you again very, very shortly. We got a lot of shit coming up. At the very least, February 22nd for Triple H. For now, later.
Bye.